been close to $750,000 paid to those two individuals, Shiverdecker and Croswell, for the services that they have provided in this particular case. That could have been done for free had he utilized the Attorney General's office. So in essence, we've got three situations here. Tampering with evidence, we've got obstructing justice, and we've got unlawful interest in a public contract. All we're asking for is for an investigation. Our concern is simply that justice has to be blind and has to be fair and impartial. And we do not feel that this was in a situation where it was fair and impartial. There are just too many pieces of this puzzle that connect so many folks. We also just learned that the Judge Dinkelheim, that Attorney Shiverdecker represented Judge Dinkelheim in 2001 when Judge Dinkelheim was sued by the Inquirer for failing to return some information through a public records request. By law, I don't believe if an attorney represents a judge in a previous incident or situation, that he can then come and try a case before that judge. I think that raises a serious question there. So we continue to keep connecting the dots here, and we always maintain all along that those charges against Judge Heiner were frivolous and should not have occurred. All she was doing was trying to better assist him that needed to be fixed. And she came in, she began to do that. As a result, we see where we are today. It's not going to go away. Folks need to be held accountable, and this is why we're asking the justice. We did not ask the Attorney General's office to take to the investigation simply because to avoid an appearance of impropriety, Mike DeWine's son, ruled on a case involving Judge Heiner, and we felt it would be better that, to avoid any appearance of impropriety, to allow the Justice Department to do an investigation. Any questions?
On the document we handed you, there's a lot of detail of what you just explained. We also handed you the document from the Ohio Attorney General's website, which says that a jurisdiction can request special prosecutors at no cost. And we're just wondering, why in the world would Mr. Dieters choose to get the county charged nearly $1 million for special prosecutors, and especially using special prosecutors that were his former defense attorneys? That does not look like being void of the appearance of impropriety. Something is wrong with that. It's time for the Justice Department to step in and look at this entire situation. We simply request fairness. We also had Red Light and want to say something.
I'm Barry Silver, and I'd like to emphasize that Judge Heiner is a religious person, a clergyman, and this is the result. I know they're talking about things now, but the whole case is a result of a witch hunt. I am a Republican, and still am a Republican. But I believe that my party built a case against her, had all Republican officials review them. I also was a volunteer at juvenile court during Judge Schwartz's tenure, and the things we did to help young people, we would be all, including Judge Schwartz, according to today's rules, sitting in jail. And that's all that Judge Hunter wants to do. She needs her bench back. They shouldn't be running people. She was here to make juvenile court just for all children, and not send them off to jails, but get them on the proper road to success. And I think the judge giving her that sentence, he is now running for a political office and using racial, I feel, bias campaigning, saying there's a black person running against him in the primary, who I remain nameless, but he's alluding again that this is another dishonest person. He seems to have this hang-up about black dishonest people. But I would like to know why he feels this is such a dishonesty, and some frivolous thing like Pete Rose, he did that case too. He feels he should be put in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Great
Judge
point.
Hunter is a person, a caring, decent person. Pete Rose hits a baseball ball. What has he
Absolutely.
done for society?
Absolutely.
We have missed all her years because of this trial. And it's time for the Hamilton County to face the music. And that's why the feds should come in immediately. She should be given a restraining order against the Nadell conviction and given her bench back. That is what the justice calls for.
Amen.
And let me add that 1 week after declaring that Judge Hunter needed to spend 6 months in jail, a person that harmed no one, touched no one, but Judge Norman Nato said she needs to spend 6 months in jail. 1 week later, he lets a guy go on probation that was indicted on 7 charges: 2 rape, 2 kidnapping, 2 sexual imposition, all on the campus of the University of Cincinnati. This guy 1 week later receives probation. And now, right now, the University of Cincinnati police are searching for another guy that has committed a sexual wrong on the campus. Maybe had this previous person been properly charged and given some time in prison, instead of just feeling like this female who had harmed no one should spend time in prison, maybe that would have sent a message to everybody. You do not harm anyone sexually on a college campus or anywhere. It's time for fair justice to show up in Hamilton County.
Amen.
Excuse me?
She's not.
She's not here, I don't think.
Yeah, she's
If she,
here.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see her. If she would like to, that's up to her. That's up to her.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't see her back there.
What are your thoughts on this call for the Justice Department to be involved?
I am in complete and total agreement. I believe that any time that a judge such as myself can write a judicial entry, and that judicial entry can be changed, which it was, and the ruling was different than the ruling that I put in place, and the ruling in the system that they provided as evidence was different than my judicial entry, there's a problem. And when I can be falsely accused of crimes for acts that I did not commit, but which other people acknowledge testimony that they did, then there's a problem. And I do believe that those responsible for what has occurred to me unrighteously and unjustly should be held.
I'll tell you what's so concerning about all of what she just said. All of what she just said was documented on the 2 computers, one in her courtroom, which is what her case manager worked on in that courtroom, and then the case manager also worked on her entries in her office on the 8th floor. Ironically, those 2 computers no longer exist. The data for those 2 computers no longer exist. And we thought that was very interesting. In fact, once her attorneys presented a motion regarding the information being removed from the computers, asking for a dismissal on those charges. A week later, when she went into the courtroom to stand trial for the 2nd time, immediately prior to even starting the trial, the prosecutors wanted to drop all of the additional 9 remaining charges. That was not just happenstance.
Right.
It was simply because we discovered that the information, the evidence had been destroyed, computers tampered with, and things of that nature. And then I also think of the whole issue of this last charge that she supposedly found guilty of. Having an interest in a public contract where his brother got 4 hours of overtime or whatever. I think a real having an interest, unlawful interest in a public contract comes with providing your friends a contract, recommending them a contract, and to the tune of $750,000. And the numbers are still going up because they've submitted vouchers up through September 30th of 2015. Everything they've done to prepare for this second trial that they abruptly dropped the charges on, they have not submitted a bill as of yet. And that's up until, in fact, they're still on retainer with the county. So this could reach $1 million very easily before this is all over. And I think the taxpayers should demand, somebody be held accountable. Yes. From the county commissioners to the county prosecutor's office, somebody has to be held accountable for this.
Yeah, I definitely think that providing your friends or your defense attorneys a no-bid contract is more closely akin to having an unlawful interest in a public contract. This needs to be investigated.
Can you reiterate the timeline when exactly you found out about the computers and they may have been tampered with?
The computers were, she was due to go back to trial on, January the 19th? Yes. About 2 weeks before that is when we discovered that the computers had been tampered with. And that's why and then a week before trial was when the motion was introduced for dismissal based on the fact that the computers had been tampered with. And I think it's unconscionable for a prosecutor's office who is supposed to protect the evidence to allow one computer to be sold and then the other one, the hard drive washed off and sold, and the other one, the damage was done. They did not preserve those evidence. And why that occurred, I don't know. Somebody in the juvenile court or in the prosecutor's office allowed that to occur.
That seems highly irregular. To sell a county computer, it would seem like they would have some kind of protocol for that. Was this within protocol, or was this just an anomalous situation?
Well, that has to be determined, and the investigation has to take place. I thought it was very interesting that after the first trial was over, the young lady Lisa Miller was transferred out, and I think she was transferred to Brown County or one of the other counties as a case manager out there, and both of her computers were watched.
Mr. Thomas, I know previously that the prosecutor's office was accused of destroying evidence in the office of prosecutor, and Mr. Croswell represented the prosecutor's office at that time. Are there any similarities that you know of in this particular instance of evidence being destroyed?
Well, I don't recall. I know there was an incident where some evidence were disappeared out of the evidence locker at the county prosecutor's office, but it just begs the question. It begs the question as to the impropriety of what has happened in this particular case, and it really has exposed some serious concerns with the prosecutor's office and the criminal justice system.
Judge Hunter, are you hopeful that this can be resolved in enough time for you to take your seat back on the bench before the term expires?
I expect that if justice will ever be served, despite the fact that at this point I have been irreparably harmed, I think that there will be no choice but to restore me to the position that was wrongfully taken from me.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.